good evening everyone, you're very welcome to Inside Line Racing for the second round of ILR6 here at the Bahrain International Circuit at Sakhir. My name is Graham and I'm going to do my best to help bring the action for you tonight for round 2, which is at a track where usually you get some fantastic racing. So hopefully that's what we see tonight, 16 drivers, and hopefully they're going to give us a good show here under the lights in the desert. So before we get to all of that, let's quickly go over the standings just to bring up to speed on what happened last week. So in first place with collecting the full 25 points, it was Dan Scar and McLaren. Mara Messi, who's not here tonight, enjoying the Rangers game I believe. He's in second with 15 points, and Jacko there in third with 12 points. Of course, second place was taken last week by one of the reserve drivers, so that is why. And then the constructors, it is the McLaren boys leading the way with 25 points, and then Mara Messi and Pro Opa in the Toro Rosso 15 points, and then Mr. Crumpet and Jacko on 13 points in third. Nothing to get too carried away with so far, so we won't get too far into the stands. We've got 2 retirements already, and I can only assume they've taken place at the one part of this track that does love to throw, how you say, the proverbial spanner in the works. It is the right-hander that Daziak is actually navigating now. It is turn 12, and there's a Force India of Reese, so that's where it's happened. So you get up on that inside curb and the car will just fly, and the back end will stick out, and there is not much you could do to stop it. So that's the main area I think that these guys have to be careful of. Another part of the track you need to be wary of, Smudge is coming up to it here now. This left and right section, that outside curb that Smudge actually didn't go even near, that is where you have to be very, very careful, because that curb will launch you into the air, and that can fling you off the road. And if you're racing someone, it could easily throw you into the path of someone else. Got another retirement already with John, so already a fair amount of casualties racking up in the opening. Oh, Genie Mack, and that's where that Alpha Sauber is parked, and poor Baza must have had a heart attack as he came around that right-hander of turn 12. So that's the danger that these guys are facing, things like that. The outside curb I referred to as the curb of turn 7, the outside curb of turn 7, as he charged down the hill towards 8. So that's what I'm referring to. So at the moment it is Plays setting the pace with 27.3, comfortably ahead of JYP or JY in second. Antatak meanwhile has not come out for a lap yet. Who is on the lap currently? Getting closer in is Daziak on the softs. So we're seeing a couple of guys seeing if they can split the strategy between the softs and the super softs. Shouldn't make too much difference. This race is still a one stop really, you should be looking to aim for. But of course if you're on the softs you can go just a little bit longer, and just a bit more life can be found in those medium tyres if you're pitting a little bit later. So Danskar, last week's race winner, coming across the line, he sets a 28.4 on a second lap of super soft tyres. He'd be hoping to improve on that time, otherwise that's a very tired set of supers to be starting this Bahrain Grand Prix on. As Murdoch lives back to the pits, they're all kind of in the pits now, aren't they? Either they're in laps or some doing their out laps, with the exception of Dogs, and Dogs goes up to 5th at 28.7. So I'm very interested to see personally what Antatak does. He is chilling in the pit lane on a set of softs. Of course he was leading the race by a country mile last time out in Australia, and then binned it at the turn 12 section, the right-hander, when he was at least 24 seconds or so in the lead, and threw away the full 25 points. So he'd be looking for revenge tonight. Can he exact it on a set of softs, no less? Well, we've got 10 minutes between now and then, as Jack is beginning to start a lap soon in the Renault. Of course, just wants to have in on the fun, and why not? Racing is fun. So gets himself ready to start the lap, and here he goes. Up was the DRS, the lengthened DRS at Bahrain this year. 6 nice and tight to the left. So he drift out onto the curb. He does drift out into the curb a bit, just gives you a bit more steering input, or angle rather, and he understeers a bit into turn 1, misses the apex. So he climbs up the hill through 2 and towards out of 3 and up towards this turn 4. Hug it if you can. Wide exit. So he powers his way through. This is number 6, very tentative, and through 7. That outside curb that he's just grazed with that right tyre, that's the one that can launch you up if you take too much of it. Climb up the hill once again to turns 9 and 10. A very difficult part of the track, especially if you're using no ABS. Nice and clean though for Jack. Powers down the second to DRS straight. Beautiful. Some long corner grip important through turns 11 and turn 12. Hug it, but don't touch it. That apex, that inside apex, you can run wide on the outside, that's okay. Graze this one as well, and then you're beginning down the wind down. Down the hill you'll go once again. Out of turn 14. And they technically count that little kink there as turn 15. It's a 15 corner track, and there you go. But Jack elects not to complete the lap and might have invalidated it. Possibly at turn 3. That Baza has just exited. Baza in 7th on a set of softs. 29.2, he's inside the top 10, and actually, let's see, best. Okay, so Pinsky, I'm just saying Pinsky. Pinsky has currently got a set of softs fitted, so he thinks he can go a bit quicker, possibly, than his best time, which is on a set of supers. That's a very interesting decision. Well, let's see what he can do. 27.7 is the time he has to beat. This Ant-Attack still hasn't left the pits. I don't believe he's serving the quality ban, so I'm not sure what's happening there. It's the only Sauber remaining, Jay Fernandez. He's got the Mercedes to contend with behind, but I think that is Murdoch, and Murdoch is on an out lap, so nothing to fear. Murdoch just needs to back himself away from that Sauber just a little bit, give himself the best or the most amount of room, the least amount of traffic, any sort of dirty air to contend with that could screw up his flying lap. Yellow flag at sector 3, not too sure what's going on there, but just nothing as usual. He will go with Fernandez out of turn 15, charging down the straight, DRS open. He's done a 31.6, and Murdoch then starting his lap as well, so super soft. It's interesting to see what he will do. Who's on a lap? Is anyone in the other front runners? He's getting close. Plays currently on his out lap, I believe. No, look, maybe he's on the flying. Anyone getting close? Alex looks like he's about to, but he's coming into the pits and he'll ditch those softs. In P8 for now. Got a couple. Actually, we got a couple of drivers in the top 10 on soft. So interesting if their strategy will pay off, or will they be knocked outside the top 10. We shall see. Oh, it's very, very wide for Smudge, and he's into the wall and he's out of qualifying. So that is the danger. And I love how the cars, like a jet engine, would cool down. That's how these cars seem to, that noise, but not the cool down noise Smudge would have wanted in the wall out of this qualifying session from P3. He's got a bit of margin, but not what he would have wanted regardless. So we have Pinsky getting close. I think he's actually beginning to set up for a lap, so you can see the deployment of ERS in 0. So he's just setting up his teammate in the middle sector. About Murdoch then, as he comes across the finish line. 30.3 does not improve on his previous best, and he remains in P10. What about Danskar? He's getting close to the end of a lap, and he's actually, I think is he just gearing himself up for a lap, or is he coming in? I think he's coming in. With just 5 minutes remaining, they're gearing up for their final runs of this qualifying session. Apologies, I didn't want my tea to go cold. It'd be rude, you know. Stasiak in 11th still on the super softs. Anyone? Gosh, the softs fitted at the moment. Jacko has. Ant has finally decided to join the fray. So looks like he's. I say what's happened here is he's waited for the track to rubber in to reach its best, and then on that best, he's going to try and set a lap on the soft. So I think he's given himself enough time for 2 flying laps, which should be possible. And by that stage, the track will be at its best. These softs are usually at their best, not so much for their first lap, but their second flying lap. That's when they really get into that zone. So it's all about a matter of timing for Ant. Of course, he's left himself a bit of work to do. Obviously, he is in last because he's not set a lap, but he's putting the pressure on himself to execute what I'm sure would have been his strategy. So he's bided his time, but now he's getting ready for hammer time. Anyone on a lap? Alex getting close. He's just warming up for a lap, so they're all beginning to warm up, aren't they? Dogs looks like he's on a lap though, and Dogs moves up to 4th at 28.1. So Danskar now, I thought might see a bit more from him. Maybe there's still one more roll of the dice left in that McLaren before this qualifying session is over. As Ant begins his lap, we'll have to keep an eye on him. Daziek, meanwhile, he's coming into the pits. It's going to be very... Oh, he should get out in time for another run. Murdoch looks like he hasn't actually changed his tyres. So you can see 3 laps old. So he's going to find it hard to improve on that time with those tyres. Alex still... We've got McLaren Q at the end of the pit lane. No one come down the main straight, luckily for them. So it's gone well for Plays so far, but his teammate, the championship leader, still has a bit of work to do, so we may as well stick with Ant as he opens the DRS. How has this lap gone? As he approaches the end of sector 2, as he twists and turns. I would stay on board, but that I keep forgetting the noise of that engine is terrible. Beautiful use of the outside curb. Runs a bit wide though on exit. How will that compromise his lap? Will that invalidate his lap? Okay, he's continuing on though, and he's got a ton of ERS left, but he's got enough to complete this lap, and he's got enough time then to slow down and recover and do one more flying lap as he comes across the line. He's set at 29 flat. That's good enough for 8th place at the moment. He can't come in for a set of super, so this is what he's got. And thinking now surely he'll just bump that down, recharge, and then he'll go again. Baza starting a lap on fresh softs, super softs I should say. See what he can do from P6. Dogs on a lap as well. He's just navigating through sector 2 or sector 1. Get to sector 2. Who is closest to a timed lap? I think Fernandez is just beginning. Antonio is cooling down. Baza looks like he's on a flying lap. These McLarens are about to start as well, so all to play for with 1 minute remaining. Who is going to take pole position here? Can Plays improve on his time? He's got this lap, his final lap now, to find out, and his teammate is coming into the pits. So Danskar will play no further part in this qualifying session for whatever reason, and he couldn't improve, and he'll be starting at least P5. But Pinsky goes pole position. Oh, that's a very close time. 27.369 compared to a 396, the reverse. Dogs is coming into the pits. He's had enough of this session. Baza now. What time has Baza done? He's still got time to cross the line, but he won't get another flying lap in with that ERS. Moves up to 3rd. 27.6 lap times are tumbling now. And is he going to make it in time? I thought he might have, but looks like he may have underfueled that car and has run out, and as a result he will not get out for another lap. So it looks like he's underfueled it, and it's cost him. So the only man who can now make a run at this pole surely now is Plays, but this hasn't been the best lap, it looks like. He's taking it very, very slowly, or tentatively, through turn 13. So checker flag is now out. So it's now or never. Looks like a bit of lag. What's the time going to be? It's going to complete the lap, but it's not going to be quick enough. So it looks like Pinsky has survived for a pole position at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well, Jack, I think he's the only one left on a lap now who could actually improve. Or will he back out of it? Just out of fear for not spoiling the show. He's going to finish it, and he moves up to P4 at 27.7. That's not a bad lap from Jack, but it looks like it is Pinsky who has taken pole position in that Force India out of plays. And then Baza and Attack, who I think has got pace around here, certainly didn't show it on qualifying. That 29 flat. Starting in P9 though, I think he's the only, well, he's the highest driver to start inside the top 10 on the softs. Alex right behind him in 10th, also starting inside the top 10 on the soft compound tyre. So interesting to see how far that strategy will carry those guys in this race. And really, you're better off crossing the line, to be honest, because now we have to wait. But the pole sitter, I'm sure, won't really care. So we lost a few cars in that session due to incidents. So that's a little concerning. However, maybe it was just qualifying. Hopefully, we can avoid a repeat of what happened in Australia, where we had a very minimal amount of finishers. Oh, we just missed what would have been an almighty rear ending, I'm sure. That's a shame. But anyways, as qualifying concluded, and on pole it is Pinsky, the Finn ahead of Plays in second, Baza third, Jack in fourth, Smudge in fifth, Dog sixth, Danskar in seventh, John eighth and ninth, and Alex in 10th. Both those last two on the soft compound tyre, so they can run that a little bit longer. Or should they be stuck in traffic, they have the flexibility to come in a bit earlier and maybe try and undercut onto the mediums. Though one thing I have noticed in this game is that the overcut is quite powerful as well, so maybe that could be something that they have to keep in mind as well. If you're the likes of Jack, maybe just wait until, or Ant rather, if you just wait until the guys at front pit, an opportunity could come for you through the overcut. But all that is to be decided. They still have to file their way neatly through turn one, which is one of the more hectic turn ones you have to say of the calendar. A nice cool evening here, so it's a corner that is quite open and it does invite dive bombs, and we don't want to see too many of. We don't want to see an unclean dive bomb, that's for sure. But it's certainly an inviting turn one, and drivers do like to try and sneak one up the inside if they can. I'm sure someone's going to try their luck here on this first lap. We shall see, as the drivers just selecting their strategies, their setups, any tweaks they need to change. Of course, there's a few things they can, once Parc Fermé is in, there's only a few things they can change, and we have the formation lap, so away they go. Right, some interesting, well, not interesting choices. No surprise then that pretty much the entire field from outside of 10th, who of course have free choice of tyres, Jacko, Murdoch, Daziek, Fernandez, Reese, all deciding to go with the soft compound tyre. Ah, lads, come on. Can't be having disqualifications on the formation lap. Mr. Crumpage is the lone exception at the back. He's starting on mediums. So that's an interesting choice. He's the only man on that medium compound tyre, so worth a gamble from the back. You never know what could happen. You just never know. So it's not getting too racy on the formation lap, are they? Don't want to see that. So Pinsky leading them away. Starting in P1. Always a good seat to have in the house, but it's a long run down to turn 1. And if plays, could get himself a good slipstream, good start. He could easily find himself having to try and defend that P1 heading into the first turn. And if your exit's compromised, there's that long run up the hill towards turn 4. Always a good overtaking opportunity as well, if you get a good exit. So here we go, Pinsky leading the round, turn 14, then through turn 15, and they will set themselves onto their starting grid position. And once they do, the 5 lights will be on, and when they go out, we will be racing at Bahrain for the second round of ILR6. Can Ant recover from his qualifying session on those softs? Can Danskar, what can he do from P7? All to be decided in the next 29 laps at the Sakir circuit. Here we go then. Five red lights. And away we go. Looks like a decent start. Baza for Baza as well. And for plays as they file into turn 1. Is there any moves going on? Baza going to hang around the outside of plays into turn 1 and through turn 2 and through turn 3. Plays is off the track. Baza climbing up the hill. Baza moves up into P2. And Smudge is right behind this battle as well. Can Smudge go down the inside of plays into turn 4? There's a Mercedes off the track against Murdoch. John and Ant trying to hang it around. Dogs has gone wide. So they file through turn 6. John files in behind Dogs. Oh, he's missing part of his front wing, and that's making this section of the track extremely difficult. That curve is going to launch him right up. And Ant's going to have to navigate very, very carefully. Got to move Mr. Crumpet, moved by Daziek into 10. Great start for Crumpet on those medium tyres, but Daziek going to try hang around the outside. Into turn 10, easier said than done. Oh, and as it goes with their front wing, that is Daziek's front wing. So made contact with the back of that Ferrari. Go back up to the sharp end. Got Baza defending from plays. Not the start plays would have wanted. And Pinsky hasn't driven away from them much either, so all to play for at the front. In fact, that's a very good bit of slipstream. I think Pinsky will have that both in hot lap mode, both using as much ERS as they can to try and defend themselves. It's a long, long straight. And who has slipstream will win this battle. As plays goes, oh, plays is by. Baza into P2, Baza must have gone wide, but Baza's going to nip into the toe. And plays has gone defensive, there's lots of lag going on. Got Danskar into the pits. Oh, this is fantastic camera angle, brilliant. Plays and Baza from the POV of Smudge, and plays. Oh, there's been contact between the two, and Smudge has been collected, all 3 of them are off. Plays, Baza, Smudge, they're all off. There's yeah, so it's absolute carnage, and there's more contact as Ant barges his way past the damaged Smudge into P5. So absolute carnage. Oh, there's more controversy happening. Murdoch has had a 5-second stop go for a collision with Daziek, who elected not to pitch for a new front wing after that contact on that one with Crumpet. So it's all kicking off. Plays and Reese go side by side. Of course, Plays has got wing damage as a result of that accident with Baza. Oh, he's lost the back end. He manages to save it, but he's not going to be able to save that 8th place, and Baza will come by. It looks like Baza's got a full front wing. Looks like he can continue on, although he's lost a lot of track position. So that's Crumpet and that's Crumpet and Smudge. Of course, Smudge struggling with that wing damage, and that is Crumpet into P6. Oh, there's a car off the track, and that's Baza. He has front wing damage now, so he's clipped somewhere. Someone, as Pinsky sets the fastest lap of the race. So absolutely disastrous start for both Mercedes, really. Not what you want to see. And which one of them will? Surely they both want to go into the pits to change their front wings. Smudge is into the pits to change his, that's for sure. No surprises there. Will both Mercedes follow in? No. Murdoch is going to continue on. but Baza will go into the pits. Front wing changes going on. Plays is in as well. So all three of these drivers who are at the sharp end, they are replacing those wings. Yellow flag sector 1 as John and Ant scrapping away. This is the battle for P4. It's worked out very well for Ant. They're not well, I say that, but like you see that front wing is damaged on that Red Bull, as well as that Sauber. So Mr. Crumpet with a full wing, I think will be coming into play sooner rather than later. Got a lunge. Oh, Murdoch making contact with Daziak again. Those two have been having some right ding-dongs so far in this Bahrain Grand Prix. I can't wonder if that was premeditated. These two have been going at this race so far. And there's no love lost there. Both are in the wide. John and Ant crippled by their wing damage, and this is allowing the likes of Dogs and Jack and Pinsky to just drive away at the top, with these guys bottlenecking this all with wing damage. Yellow flag in sector 2. Oh, Dan's car is off the track. He's got a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits, so he must have put the foot down. And Ant, who's that? So we've got Jack in the pits, Dogs in the pits. And yeah, Jack, John and Dogs are all in the pits. That's an early stop for Jack. That's a very early stop on those super softs. They must have been falling away from him, or he's trying a very aggressive undercut, but he's out in the same mediums, and it's a long ass to get those to the end as Daziak and Murdoch. Jack will be careful not to get himself caught up in this quite fiery battle between the Williams and the Mercedes. Has to be careful. Meanwhile, Pinsky leads in and for 8 seconds, and Crumpet's had an absolutely fantastic start to this race, starting from the back on those mediums. He is up to P3, and Plays and Reese, and it looked like an easy move for Plays in the end. Daziak and Murdoch again. Daziak is through, and Jack is watching this with interest. Oh, wide goes Murdoch, almost runs into Jack as he rejoined the track, and that is Jack into P6. Can try and get after this Williams. See how much the field has spread. Like, Jack has already made a stop, and he's in P6 fighting for P5. So that just tells you how this race has unfolded so far. The field is very, very spread through damages, through incidents, a lot of pit stops, and Jack tries to sneak his way through the inside and manages to do so. And Daziak moves up into P5. I'm sure Murdoch would like to have another go as well. So you can see how many people have made a pit stop in just 5 laps. I think Jack was the only one that was scheduled. Everyone else is just, yeah, it's been absolute chaos. Little flag in sector 3. Looks like it's Plays again, and he's had a contact with the wall of turn 12, and there's a battle going on in front as well with Jacko and Reese. Jacko going for a lunge. Is he? Who thought about it? And I think, but tucks back into the race, and Lyle will have another go. Of course, the DRS is enabled with overtake mode as well. On the edge, the limit of his ERS, he switches to the inside, and down the inside goes Jacko. Can Reese hang around the outside, which goes the inside for turn 2? He does, but that will leave Jacko with a much better run up the hill in turn 3, and he's still right behind the Force India. Heading into turn 4, will he go for another late move? Thinks about it, but tucks back in once again. Meanwhile, Dogs, big lock up. Good to see him using it. It's good to see drivers in ILR6 using anti-lock brakes, but that can damage your tyres for sure. He's catching up to the back of Daziak and Jay Fernandez and Jack moves into back into P4 with that overtake course. Fernandez yet to pit, and Jack has already made a stop on those mediums, which he will hope will take him to the end. Dogs trying to fight Daziak, because Daziak, we know, has got some front wing damage, and you'd have to imagine Dogs will get this move done sooner rather than later. Oh, he's running to the back of him, and he damaged that wing. Looks like he's okay. And Daziak, is he looking to go into the pits? No, but the DRS is open on that Red Bull, and he will fly by into P7. It's Jacko and Reese still squaring off. We'll stick with this one though. Daziak trying to hang around the outside. comes the inside, but the outside line of that turn will leave a better exit for the car behind, and Dogs looking to take advantage of that. He goes down the inside through turn 4, and as he claims that place for good, beautiful helicopter shots to almost make contact, and that is Dogs then sweeping through to claim that position. Got another yellow flag, and Dan's car's out in the session. Oh, you can see it there he is, as Penske, the leader, comes by. So turn 12 has claimed its first victim of the race. Two McLarens, look at this, two McLarens could have asked for a much worse start. 15th and a DNF. Plays try to hunt down Baza again. Baza goes wide. Beautiful helicopter shot of the different colours. You can see the different runoff areas of this track. Very, very pretty. That's a nice little 4-car scrap here. Starting with Jacko, Reese, Baza, Plays. You can see now as they go through. John, very easy move in the end through turn 13 on Daziek, who's just continuing to limp with this wing damage, and Alex won't be too much longer, catching him up and looking to get a move done. Well, Penske is still leading. Oh, we've got your flag of safety. Looks like it's Reese, and he's had the same wall of turn 12. It's a tough one. Has claimed another car, but luckily for Reese, he's got 4 wheels on that car and can continue on his merry way. And Smudge and Alex, that's one Williams dispatched for Alex. He's actually defending rather from Smudge. Smudge launching down the inside. He leaves his nose in there, but he's left the space, to be fair, by Alex. As they sweep through, it's a dangerous part of the racetrack to go side by side. You're better off just tucking in and have another go somewhere else. It's Dogs and Murdoch. Of course, Murdoch we know is nursing wing damage, so have to bear that in mind when John goes by him. Should John get by, that's what we have to keep in mind. The battle back here still going on. DRS, of course, down this straight. Is that going to be enough for Alex to make this move? Ooh, he thought about it. Squeezes his way in. Runs side by side as he's one through per turn 12. Daziek watching this with interest as well. We'll go on board with him. He's got a good view, and Alex runs very, very wide. And you can see just Daziek doesn't have the downforce to really throw it into the corner. If he did, he may have been able to make a move there, but not on this occasion. He will, however, have the benefit of DRS. You can see the line, the activation zone he just crossed. You want Dogs. Got a lot of overtaking going on here. Ooh, the two Saubers getting very, very close as well. As one goes wide, as Fernandez going wide. Murdoch running a bit wide as well, as Dogs up at the P5. So a lot of battles going on. Dogs into the top 5. And John, Fernandez, Murdoch, all very close. And Jacko and Baza down the inside of Jacko into turn 1. Using all the track available to him. Baza on exit. A good run up the hill though from Jacko. That's a better exit. Is he close enough? Baza goes defensive. But I think Jacko's going to be too far back. And that's Baza up into P12. And I think, yeah, but we knew Plays was in the wall. He's missing part of that front wing. Up at the front is a very good stint for Penske on those super softs. Lap 8. And he's only increased his lead, hasn't he, over Ant. But we know Ant does have wing damage. So Penske looking very good for this race win so far, but a long way to go yet. Lap 9 of 29. A lot to be decided. As John still stick within DRS of Dogs, but Fernandez a good bit behind now and falling into the clutches of Murdoch and Smudge and Alex. Daziek a few seconds back now of this squabble. And Jacko sticking to the back of Baza. We'll go back up here to the top 7 though, where surely Murdoch, as he dips into the toe. He's run out of ERS though, so can't complete that move. And John and Dogs, and John's retaking that P5 off of Dogs, so climbing up the hill. You can see that Dogs is saving ERS, and John has gone aggressive in his ERS, so that's where that that sudden change came. So just reserving at this point of the race. We've got side by side. Murdoch has got by Fernandez into P7. And Smudge has to be careful. Ooh, they make contact. I think his wing is okay. But Fernandez has to back out of that one. That is Smudge up into P8. Fernandez relegated to P9. He's in the middle of a Williams sandwich as Daziak in 10th place, separating. Meanwhile, plays. It's Pinsky's used a 5-second stop over speed in the pit lane. That's a big penalty. So he came in to make his stop, only to speed into the pit lane. Medium tyres going on that car. Does he have enough of a gap where that won't matter at the end of the race? We'll find out in due course. But he looks like he's going to come out in a... Will he come out? He'll come out behind Crumpet, but he should be ahead of Jack. Yes, he should be. You see there from Jack's view, the Force India emerging from the pits. Those mediums will take a lap or two to warm up, so whereas Jack's 6 laps old, they're well up to working range. That's something to keep in mind as well. Smudge. Aggressive ERS down the inside into turn 1. Tries to hang it in the inside. But Murdoch able to hang her in the out. Oh, it looks like there's been contact between the two. Just as I was going to see if there's a yellow flag. It's what the yellow flag in Sector 3 was. Murdoch is in the same wall that his teammate almost hit earlier, and now Murdoch again is left with no wing damage and has to limp his way around for another lap. I think it was Plays that was in the barrier beforehand. I think because he's in the pits now. Meanwhile, actually we'll stick on this with this because Jack is extremely close to Pinsky. You can see how much Pinsky's struggling on those mediums just to get them up to temperature. And Jack looking to take advantage. He's right up to the back of that Force India. This is effectively for the race lead right now, once Crumpet and Ant make their stops. But of course the key difference is that Pinsky's tyres are a lot younger than Jack's. Got a long way to go. Running a bit wide is Jack. He's got within DRS range. Is that going to be enough for him to make the move? You can see Pinsky has gone straight to hot lap to give himself as much straight line speed as possible, and I think it's going to hold Jack off for the time being, unable to get by through the DRS zone. We got Dogs and John continuing their squabble for P5. You can see him in the background there. And Smudge gets a 5-second stop go for speed in the pit lane, so that pit lane's caught a few people napping. It's a very sudden pit entry, and Dogs goes down the inside of John. John's trying to overturn on the outside. We'll go back to that. A little bit of contact forces Dogs off, and that puts John through into P5 as Murdoch comes into the pits to fit that new wing. Oh, very wide is Dogs. He's got wing damage. He hasn't. Just ran very wide. Yellow flag Sector 2, Sector 3. Someone's had a chat with that wall recently. There's Alex right in the back of Jacko as well. Fresh supers. That's an interesting choice. That was a 2-stopper right there. And actually it's a 3-stopper. All things considered. What is going on down there? I'm not too sure, but I am sure. Oh, these guys coming very close. Alex and Jacko. As they climb through turn 9 around the outside goes Alex, but the inside line for Jacko, turn 10. Hops across the curve a bit, and that gave Alex a better run. His rear tyre made a bit of contact with the front of Jacko's. As Pinsky, or as Ant in the pits rather. So Ant pitting from those soft compound tyres. Apologies if you hear the sirens. And I'll tell you what though, Jacko has got wing damage. Not too sure if that was a direct result of his battle with Alex, but he's going to be falling back now. Where's Ant going to figure out? Ant will figure out into P6 behind his teammate, who's still trying to chase down John. Meanwhile, Jack still trying to get the better of Pinsky. Goes very wide on that curb. Almost too wide as Daziak is into the pits for his second stop, I believe. The only driver not to make a stop. There's 2 of them. Well, 3 of them rather, but there's yet to be 2 as Daziak comes in for his stop, which he does now. It is Fernandez and Crumpet, the only 2 yet to make a stop. Yellow flag in Sector 3. Oh, and Plays is out. I'm assuming the same corner, has claimed the second McLaren of the day. And there it is. Has to be very, very careful, the drivers, not to run into that car. We'll see a safety car thrown out for that. Got to be so, so careful. As Baza moves by Fernandez into P7. Fernandez on the outside. Can he hang around? No, because Baza has seized that corner. As Baza recovering his way into P7. Of course, he had to make a racing stop, rather, I believe. Oh, yeah, he's made a stop, but it was a few laps ago, of course, after that accident. I think I may have said earlier he didn't have any wind damage from the accident. I don't think that's actually true, because he didn't make a stop, so apologies for that. A lot of things happen. You get mixed up. It's dogs. It's been a race-long scrap, hasn't it, so far? Dogs and John. Of course, they're on similar tyres. Both pitted early. Both on 9-lap-old softs. And Baza somehow lost out to Fernandez somewhere along the way and can't get back through turn 4. Yellow flag in sector 1. Oh, Alex is facing the wrong way. He's got back and facing the right way. Looks like his wing is still intact, so maybe he just got a bit aggressive on the curb. It's Fernandez. Oh, and he's gone into the advertising board as Baza absolutely flew through that in his desperate attempt to try and get back through Fernandez. Yellow flag is sector 2. Not too sure where that is. And looks like Baza's going to get the better traction. 2-lap younger tyres on back Mercedes, and that's Baza back up into P7. Mr. Crumpet is coming under pressure from Pinsky, and there's Jack behind him as well. Of course, Crumpet is not pitted, and these guys have to be very careful. Pinsky is dispatched of him. Jack has to be very careful, goes off the track to overtake him. That could be an illegal overtake. Not too sure what the game will decide in that judgment. If that was a position illegally gained off the track. Looks like he's going to let him keep it, and he can continue his chase of first place as Crumpet limps on with those 13-lap-old tyres, getting older and older and older. You'd imagine that Dogs and John will be pitching again. Those softs have done 10 laps and they won't do another 15. So it's an interesting undercut potential here off of one of these two. Of course, they decide to hang it out and go on set supers at the end, maybe lap 20 or something. Do they decide to go for another set of softs? If so, how early? Do they just decide to go for a set of mediums? We shall find out in due course as Murdoch has gone down the inside and switches back onto the racing line and completes that move on Daziek. Moves up into P11. At the front, meanwhile, Pinsky still just 4/10. I thought Pinsky might have pulled away a bit now that he's got those tyres up to working range. And even with the 6-lap older tyres that Jack has got on, he's still struggling to pull away from that Renault. So, but he's got to be careful not to cut corners like that. His Dogs still can't get by. That Sauber has been a great scrap between these two. A much more level playing field than, say, Jack versus Pinsky, whereas Pinsky's got so much fresher tyres than Jack, but that hasn't seemed to matter so far as Jack gets very, very wide. Hasn't made a huge difference so far, but as the race progresses, will that present a problem as Fernandez and Baza pit? Nice bit of lag going on there. As Jack will move ahead of all of them. Look at this then, DRS for Pinsky, or for Jack. Will he go down the inside? He will. A very neat move by Jack to get that move done, but it's not done though, as Pinsky tries to hang around the outside. Dangerous particle racing side by side, and Jack has backed out of it. Didn't want any part of any potential accident, and just decided to play it safe. But you can see the pace difference is quite strong despite the difference of tyres. of course being much older on Jack's car than Pinsky's. He'll have another crack down this main straight surely. DRS, open, ERS, full. He'll close late, but he won't go for the move. And Dogs and John, and that's why, because John is in the pits and he's another victim of the pit lane. He has sped into that pit lane. He gets a third car to do that now. So that's unfortunate for John. He'll have to hope that for Dogs will do the same. It's Jack and Pinsky. Let's go for this beautiful helicopter shot. As they fling their way through the end of the first sector. Yellow flag in sector 3. Not too sure who that's for. We want to stick with this though. Is Crumpet still within 4 seconds? Oh, and Reese has been disqualified for facing the wrong way. So trying to get out of that, facing the wrong way, the game has disqualified him. It's a bit harsh. I've seen it happen to others. And what can you do? What is there to say really? It's just poor luck, I'm afraid. As Alex is into the pits. So the field has spread out a bit. It's just these two at the front, Pinsky and Jack. It's the only real battle on track at this moment. Not sure where Alex will feed out into all that. Looks like he's close, and Murdoch's close to him as well. So we'll see. It's just Jack has just popped out of that DRS range. Has he? Was he in the activation zone? No, he just fallen out of it. It looked like, and no DRS for him. Dropping a bit far back. A smudge. Says the fastest lap of the race. Of course he is on fresh super softs, and now Crump pushes into the pits for his one and only stop. Is that a slow getaway or just lag? It is just lag. Soft compound tyres, where will he figure? He'll ease. Oh, he's got a country mile between himself and John in P6. An absolute country mile. So Crumpet look like he's having a very good race. After starting on the back of those mediums, it has paid off for him. Staying long, staying out of trouble, has helped his race very much so. He can look now and then very nifty P5, and he's got 12 laps to make up the gap of 13 odd seconds on those softs. We'll see if it can be done, as Alex looks like he's going to go down the inside of Fernandez. Oh, a bit later braking. Side by side. He's going to have the DRS, is Alex. There we go, that's a better camera angle. Go on board Murdoch. As Alex looks to, yeah, he makes the move and comes back across the racing line. Oh, and Murdoch's going for a late lunge. I think Fernandez saw it coming, and thankfully he did, because if he had turned in, there could have been an almighty accident. So that's a poor run up the hill though for Alex, and Fernandez thought about it, but just tucked back in the end at the last second. So a break there for Alex. Could have easily lost out there, having just captured that P9. But Fernandez was wiser to it. As Dogs come into the pits, where will he come out in comparison to John? Of course we know John sped into the pit lane. John's just round in the final corner now. Have to keep an eye. There's Murdoch. He's close to Fernandez. We'll stick with this though. Here comes John, and I think he has the fastest lap of the race, but he's going to come out a bit further behind than he was beforehand. So Dogs look like he's made a successful move then through the pit stops to really secure that P5, because John is now almost 3 seconds behind on older tyres and with a speeding penalty as well. So it's worked out well for Dogs. It's worked out well for Crumpet as well, who of course moves up into P4, continuing his very, very strong drive today. As Murdoch, he's used all of his ERS. Will that be enough to prevent him making a move? DRS and slipstream to help him to make up for the lack of ERS. He's topping out a bit, goes down the inside into turn 1. Oh, gets up on the curb. And Fernandez, what's his run out of turn 2 like? It's not bad. Not a bad run as he goes through turn 3, as Jack is pitching. So he couldn't take those mediums the rest of the way. We'll jump on board with that now. Soft compound tyres going on that car, and he should emerge into a very comfortable P4 if nothing else. There goes Ant. Crumpet actually looks like he won't, so he looks like he'll stay with the podium. So Jack emerges into P3 on those, and that should give Pinsky, if he didn't already, have a very easy run at this race win. 17 seconds is advantage to Ant in second. You imagine it's all just calmed down a bit now, hasn't it? The gaps are spread. Although, actually, how to say that, John has actually closed up rapidly to the back of Dogs. He was 2.7 seconds, if you remember, after they made their stops, and he's cruised up to the back, hasn't he, despite having a few lap older tyres. Of course, that won't mean much now, when they're 1 and 3 laps old, but it will later. But despite that, he's caught up very, very quickly to the back of that Red Bull. And these two will look to begin battle once again. Though a bit of a wide entry, misses the apex as John, if he can stay within DRS range, sets himself up for a good move. Maybe heading down the main straight. How close can he get? Can he stick within DRS? He's just fallen out of it right now as they navigate turns 11 and 12. Looks like he's got back into it. Beautiful car control, and he's within that range, so a good final sector. It's definitely helped. Let's see the lap time difference. This Dog's coming across the line. 31.3. Not sure what John's time was. They're very, very close though, but not close enough for a move into turn 1 this time. Lap 20 of 29. It's been a good race, and it's flown by, but there's still positions to be decided. As Jacko is into the pits, those mediums couldn't go to the end, and a set of super softs going onto that car. Interesting, those touching the super softs for the final stint. At least right now anyways. Just 7/10. Oops. Drop my phone. Don't want to do that. Just 7/10 separating John and Dogs. We've got Murdoch getting by Jacko. Jacko looks like they haven't changed his front wing. He's still rolling around with wing damage. It's not good news. Fernandez is close behind. On mediums though, so can the difference in compound, the fresher tyres, save Jacko from losing out on a points position? We'll find out soon enough. Tell you what though, actually, something to keep an eye on. Jack is reeling in and massively, but we'll get back to that in a second. As John and Dogs, John's gone very, very wide, so it looks like he made a lunge for that move, missed the apex. He will have DRS though, as they run side by side down the main straight. That's the recipe for disaster. Dogs has got the inside line, but just decides to tuck back in, doesn't he? And John has effectively taken P5 now, and now John's got to get on with it because he's got an unserved stop-go coming his way. And if he's the quicker driver, we'll soon know, but he's going to get on with it now. I was saying that Jack is really going to catch. He's the fastest man on the track, fastest lap that last lap round, 3.3 seconds behind Ant. You can see the difference in tyres, 9 lap old mediums compared to 2 lap old softs. You'd imagine sooner rather than later he is going to be having to scrap to take back that P2. So perhaps that was the thinking with Jack, that he knew he couldn't get the win with his tyres being old as they were, but if he pitted, he would take back what he originally had before. And Pinsky's in the pits. Remarkable. And he's serving the 5-second stop-go penalty he picked up for speed in the pit lane. A fascinating decision. That is genuinely surprising, because those mediums would have gone to the end, surely. Ant is going to move into the lead, and Jack through into second. So all of a sudden, Jack is attacking Ant for the win of this race. Interesting. 7 laps to go, 8 including the one they're on. He's got 3.1 seconds to make up on Ant. Will he do it? Or will he decide, being an owner and not not a driver as such in this league, in this division rather, that not to interfere with the race win? It's running a nice P2 though. So we'll see. I'm sure the competitive nature in him will want to go for the race win. But we shall see. There are a few laps remaining to decide it. This Dogs is caught up to the back of John, is in DRS range. These two going out all race long. It's been fun. Yellow flag is sector 2 and 3. Oh, that Daziek off the track. I'll be very careful how he rejoins it. Oh, almost just destroyed. I think that was Jack, wasn't it? It was. So a very dangerous manner to rejoin the track. Almost collected Jack and all that. It would give them a heart attack. That Daziek, lucky not to lose a wheel or to take another one off of Jack. And he will come into the pits to replace that broken wing. See there, the top three, see Ant going through turn 1, and then Jack, and then Pinsky looking to do the same. We'll go back with this battle though. The battle for, of course it is for P5. They are catching Crumpet, aren't they? They are catching the Crumpet just a bit. 2.3 seconds. The gap from John to Crumpet, so I think we could have a 3-car scrap coming soon between 4th, 5th and 6th. Baza a long way behind as well. A very lonely race, looks like in P7 in no man's land. 24 seconds behind that battle in front, and 13 odd seconds ahead of Alex. Has been a great race for the Mercedes gang. Hasn't been a great race for the McLarens either. It's the gap now at the front, 2.2 seconds. It's getting closer, lap by lap by lap. Let's see the lap times as they come across for the 23rd time at starting lap 24. A 1:31.8 for Ant, 1:31.4 for Jack. It's steady. Is it going to be enough come the end of this race? So we have a few more laps now to decide. Smudges into the pits, probably going for a fastest lap. And you can see he exits in right into this battle. He's got to be very, very careful. And he pulls over to let John and Dogs through as they continue their epic battle, as they've been squabbling for most of this race. It looks like it's going to go down to the flag. Even if John has got a speeding penalty to contend with, it's still a fun battle to watch. Nevertheless, 1.9 seconds the gap at front, and that's come down even further. And further and further. So maybe those mediums begin to just show their wear and tear, because he's caught within 4 seconds of this lap alone. Yellow flag sector 2 and 3. Oh, Fernandez is off the track. Turn 12. And struggling to get the car pointed in a straight line. Bit of a twitch from Dogs as he goes through turn 10. This has been a disastrous lap for Ant. He's got the Sauber to contend with in front as he laps him. There's Fernandez, of course, who he just knew had that spin, and Jack navigates him too. What is the gap then? What is the lap times rather? It's going to be a bad one for Ant, surely. 31.8, 30.7. So that was pretty much the same kind of lap time that Ant did last lap. Just Jack had a much better lap that time round. And now the gap is just 1.3 seconds, 1.1 as they go through turn 1. So getting closer and closer as the laps begin to count down. Oh, and there goes Daziek. He's out of this race. I can only imagine. Yellow flags, yep, through this section. And there's the Williams, who was playing with fire. Had a few offs through that section, but this one he wasn't able to get away with. Here we go then. Within DRS range is Jack on Ant. Just I think these last few laps, Jack has just... Ant has been consistent on this pace, but just Jack has picked it up a notch, hasn't he? And he activates the DRS, and surely now, heading down the main straight, he can have a go at making this move. He's got a lot of ERS to play with. Surely, given the tyre situation and the ERS, the DRS and the slipstream, there is nothing surely that Ant can do to defend this. Here we go then. Opens the DRS, he's in hot lap mode. Ant is doing everything he can to try and defend it. And he tucks in and tucks back out, and down the inside goes Ant into the lead of the race. And there you go. He's moved ahead of Ant. Can Ant fight up the hill? He hasn't got the ERS to do so. Will he go for a lunge? No, he's let it go. Meanwhile, Crumpet and John down the inside of Crumpet, bit of contact forces him wide, and he gets that move done into P4. And how's Dogs run up the hill? Can he fight Crumpet as well? Will he have a look down the inside? It's turn 4. No, not on this occasion. We get a beautiful helicopter shot of these three following suit through the first sector to begin the second sector. That Sauber looks very, very planted indeed. Looks beautiful as they file their way through that hairpin, up the hill, through turn 9. Oh, he cuts the track a bit, does Crumpet. There's a Williams behind of Smudge, who's on much fresher tyres. I'm sure he feels like he can go a lot faster than this, but they are a lap ahead of him, so just gotta be careful. Lapped cars getting involved in squabbles is always a risky and a controversial topic, especially if there's an accident caused, which there's the recipe to do here with this many cars involved. Of course, this is the last thing that Dogs needs at this stage, is a car who's quicker than him, but is not even in contention for the position he's currently in, as John is in the pit. No, oh, it's the fake. Sly Dog. Thought he was coming into the pits there, the dummy, and he continues on as they bump through turn 1. Crumpet goes right across the curb to try and take back that position. There's lag. I can see that front wing has been damaged for Crumpet, and now surely there's no defence now. Eventually Dogs should capitalise. Crumpet will eventually succumb to that damage, surely. Nothing you could do there. You could just see the lag that it was having. Just, you're powerless to do anything in that situation when the car lags like that in front of you. What can you do? But what Crumpet will have to do is just try and hold on, try and put it behind him, and try and hold on to this P6, or P5 rather. 10 points are up for grabs right now if you can stay in this position, but it's going to be tough with Dogs right behind him. As Jacko looks like he's left the session. So, unfortunately for Jacko, he's running in 10th. Looking for a point. And I think, yeah, okay, so Jack is deciding not to interfere with this race result, their race win. So that's why he's pitting. And that puts Ant back into lead ahead of JP, or Popinski rather. So, is he just parking? No, he's going to come out behind all this, so that puts John in a spot for a podium. Crumpet, Dogs, this is now a battle for a podium spot. Of course, the factors we need to take into account: John, a speeding penalty; Crumpet, wing damage; Dogs, I think, is the one to be watching here. He's got no penalties. He's gotten, I believe anyways, he's got no wing damage right now, but he does not have track position. He's trying to change that. Oh, he's made contact with Crumpet, and there's a Sauber off the track as well, trying to get out of the way of all this, which is Fernandez, and Smudge manages to get by into P11 as a result. So that's done John a huge favour. It's just giving him a little bit of a buffer, 1.4 seconds to Crumpush, but that won't be enough to clear any sort of penalty that he has. Yellow flag in sector 3. Not sure what that's all about. We'll go back to this though. And surrounding the final corner to begin the final lap of the race. This squabble continues. Crumpush and Dogs. I think Smudge is actually going to get by Jacko, I think, in the end. Because Jacko's car is a ghost into the pits. And there you go, Jack. The other Jack has retired from the session. So, but he would have won this race today if he wanted to. So, fair play to him. He drove well. But is allowing the others to race and to get the results. Final lap for Ant. His strategy looked like it hadn't paid off. And he has been closed in rapidly by Pinsky, but he's going to run out of laps. Is Pinsky. Meanwhile, the squabble still continues. Dogs and Crumpush. And of course, Smudge behind them as well. Electing not to go by. Keep with it though. This guy's very, very close. Will he have a go? This is surely his best chance. Down this DRS straight one last time. He's got a great run. Crumpet moves across to defend it. He's got to drive around the outside. And he does so. Meanwhile, Ant is rounding the final corner. He started on the softs, didn't go his way in quali, but it's gone his way in the race, and he wins the Bahrain Grand Prix just ahead of Pinsky, who I think has a win thrown away today with that strategy. And Dog standing inside of Crumpush. No, he can't do it. So John will finish third on track, but once penalties are applied, I believe that will change. Crumpush crosses the line for Dogs in fifth. I'll have to check to make sure that speed penalty was unserved. Great battle between John and Dogs, and then Crumpet at the end there. Fantastic stuff. Smudge finishes 9th, Jacko 10th. Those in his car. Fernandez finishes 11th. They're all a lap down, of course. And the rest of these guys should follow suit. Baza, well, what could have been from Baza today? He could have easily had this win had he not come to contact with, I think it was Plays earlier. He finishes in 6th. A lot of stops made today, as you can see. Alex will finish in 7th, and then Murdoch will be the final unlapped runner to cross the line into 8th place. And there you go. So on the top step, that Red Bull stands proud. And sprays that champagne, absolutely wonderful stuff. So let me just check them before we go through the results. So he did have an uncertain stop go in the end, but this Ant, who has won the Bahrain Grand Prix ahead of Pinsky just about. John in 3rd, at least for now. Crumpush 4th, Dogs 5th, Baza 6th, Alex 7th, Murdoch 8th, Smudge 9th, and Jacko in 10th place. So we'll try and get these guys in for a wee chat and see what they have to say after those entertaining 29 laps. We'll get John in anyways. Hello. We'll just see when the others will join, and if not, we'll get cracking. How do I say your name, by the way? I don't want to mess it up. How do I say your name? I don't want to mess it up. Just so that is it. We'll go with your game tag. Is it Pinsky, is it? Ah, okay. I've just been saying Pinsky, so that's okay. Is your voice on allowed to be shared? Is your voice on allowed to be shared? Cool. If it isn't, just make sure it's on. I want everyone to hear that you sound like Kimi Räikkönen. I think you're the only one that is gonna turn up. So, are you sure? Because apparently they can't hear. They can't hear you. They can't hear you. They can't hear you because your voice might not be on allowed to be shared. Just have a quick check, will you? Oh, I got Nat type with John. I can't hear John because it's of Nat type. Did you change your voice to allow it to be shared? Should be around there. I'll look it up really quick.
Is it now? Okay. Well.
Sharing. So if you're in,
I'm now in party settings, and there is allow your voice to be shared, and there is options do not allow for
oh, you're good.
party
Yeah.
and
Okay.
always allow.
Yeah, you're good. You can be heard. You can be heard now. So thanks, Daniel on YouTube for that. We'll get cracking anyways. If you're able to chat with John, just tell him that that he is Nat type and try leave and rejoin, because he won't be able to hear me. Can you hear John?
No.
Okay.
No, I can tell.
We'll get cracking anyway. So you started on pole, and how do you feel like? Well, you made a decision to pit on from mediums on 12 lap old mediums. Do you regret making that decision? Do you think those could have gone to the end, or?
Yeah, it couldn't go till the end, but I don't know what happened. I pressed the pit limiter on before going to pit, and after that it went 1 kilometer over the pit limiter. So I was given 5 second stop and go penalty. That's why I have to stop second time. I could make to the end of the race with one pit, but I have to stop second times. That's why I was second time pitting.
You got really close to obviously taking back the lead of the race. How hard were you pushing at the end there? Because you were catching them rapidly. Did you think you'd be able to do it? Just one more lap would have been all you needed.
Yeah, I was pushing 100% all. I guess, there was two drivers in front. I was hoping that they will have huge fight there and lost some time, and that's why I was pushing like a hell. But it wasn't enough. I was completely off the tires till the end, but maybe there would be a tire left if there would be a few laps more. Was completely off the tires.
Are you disappointed? Like how are you feeling after that?
Yeah. Yeah, I am disappointed,
Yeah.
but well, what you can do? There was one stop and go penalty which I disagree, but that's racing.
That's racing. I'm told to ask you if you remember the cookie bet.
There is now coming hugely noise to my headset. Is there
Yeah,
somebody getting the?
it's Johnny. You have to turn that down a little bit.
There is now coming hugely noise to my headset. Is it now better?
It's not. It's not you. It's not you. It's John's. He's got the stream on. It's a little loud.
Okay. Now it's better. Now
Yeah.
it's better.
I'm asked to ask you, Pinsky, if you remember the cookie bet.
Sorry.
I'm asked to remember you if you remember the cookie bet. I'm told you'll know what you're talking about.
What is that? What is
I don't know. I don't know. I just said ask if he still remembers the cookie bet. He'll know what I'm talking about.
No, I know. I don't understand at all.
I don't either. I just read it. So look, China's next on the calendar. How are you feeling heading into that race? Do you feel that you can go one better and win that race?
Yeah, I don't like Bahrain at all. I practice a lot, but I didn't get the pace at all from my point of view. I think China will be better, but it is difficult to say and judge what the pace will be there. But hopefully it is at least as good as this. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you barely missed out on the win in this race, and you despise this track.
Yeah, I don't like this track at all, and maybe I could win it, I guess. What happened on the first bit? I don't I have no idea what happened there. No clue. I pressed the speed limiter on I think 30 meters before the entry, and after that it just go over the limiter, and I have a stop and go penalty which I couldn't make on that stop. So that's why everything went pretty fucked up.
And despite all that, you barely missed out. So well done. That was obviously I'm interested to see now what the pace is like. If again you had all these issues in this race and you missed out on the win by 1 second. So interesting to see what China holds for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
So well done. Anyways, that is P2 for you, and I think no one else is joining. I think because Ant is trying to get in, but I sent him an invite, and sure, look, if he's if he's not joining, he's not joining. So I think that's going to do it for round number 2 of ILR6 from the Bahrain International Circuit. It is Ant taking the win ahead of Pinsky and ahead of John. So until next time, see you later.